Welcome, everyone. It looks like we're live, and we had a little bit of fire drill this morning, but we've got everybody on. I'm excited to have this opportunity. This was a reschedule from Tuesday, so we appreciate Shelby and all the folks at Quest for accommodating our crazy schedules. Today, we're going to be talking about PeopleSoft expenses. And technically, whenever we talk about them at Hackettstown Meridian Health, we actually call them PeopleSoft mobile expenses. It was a key component, fluid and mobile. And we do want to talk about some of the cool features that we deployed, a custom solution integrating with Google Maps. We deployed full fluid functionality. Twilio did not happen. I'll talk about that and the choice we made there. And then the Duo two-factor authentication actually enabled also through the Appsian toolset. So we've got a lot of content today, and I'm going to dive right in. And I'm going to have our folks from Hackensack do their introductions, and then I'll step in and do mine. Gary, the floor is yours.
Hi, my name is Gary Wilhelm. I'm the Vice President of Business Applications at Hackettstown Meridian Health. And the next slide.
This would be Kawaljit.
Hi, I am Kawaljit here, and I work for Hackensack, working with Gary and Bess here. And I've been supporting on financial applications. And today I will demo expenses on GPS.
Kawaljit is the guy everyone wants to have on their projects. Just giving you a little kudos there, Kawaljit. Great to work with both of you. My name's Randy Johnson. I'm a Vice President at SpearMC. I do a lot of PeopleSoft financials applications because I started out my career as a aspiring audit partner at KPMG, and I got my CPA, and then quickly, when I got my MBA, realized I don't like auditing, and I got into systems implementations back in the 90s, doing this incubator thing called PeopleSoft, and the rest is history. So if you have LinkedIn on your phone, really cool feature, you can just click the QR scan, and we can get connected immediately. Otherwise, there's my email address, and I will be open to any email and respond as quickly as possible. It's near the end of our week here, and these are the presentations that SpearMC was associated with this week. There's actually 2 additional ones on there that were late breaking that got added. So I think we had in total 14 presentations. Just a few remaining for the rest of today. And we have had just a spectacular week working with the Quest team and our customers. I hope everyone has enjoyed their week. SpearMC, a little bit about us. We are coast to coast in the continental United States. We've done work in Hawaii as well. Never opened an office there for tax reasons. We are looking at expanding into Canada in 2021, and so soon we'll see that we're a international or global organization. Many global customers. In fact, yesterday I did a presentation on ANZ Bank and their implementation of lease administration using IFRS 16. Very exciting topic. We are proud to be recognized by Gartner in our PeopleSoft expertise. This is years in the making, and it's a testament to our investment. We continue to invest heavily in PeopleSoft. We believe it's got staying power. If you've been on any of the keynotes, you're hearing from Paco and from Amira and everyone how much their investment in PeopleSoft continues. And so we believe we made a strategically sound choice to stay all in the PeopleSoft ecosystem. And so it's important to know that the majority of our work continues to be PeopleSoft. It's why we are known in the industry for our PeopleSoft expertise. Even in the Oracle industry, we are sometimes asked to participate in performing demos of their products to clients, and we happily accept every time we get that opportunity. We started way at the beginning, focused on training and staff augmentations in the PeopleSoft realm. That quickly evolved into full systems integration support for all pillars: financials, HCM, enterprise learning management, and campus solutions. We have also, as our expertise has grown, moved into managed services. That started in functional managed services with some of our clients and our implementations, and really evolved into supporting technical, so system administration, database administration, functional support, and then lifting and shifting onto a Oracle Cloud hosted platform, so OCI. Lately, we've been getting a lot of calls on emerging technologies, and let's just focus on those as chatbots, expenses, Twilio, the integration, Fluid, not so much emerging anymore, but Kibana as analytics. So that's what we do, and we key on mostly PeopleSoft. The 5% of our business that's not PeopleSoft is Hyperion planning, Hyperion, HFM, OBIEE, and other analytics. We also lump Kibana in there, but generally these are as an extension of customers that are running PeopleSoft as their main ERP application. All right, I'm not going to continue to talk about SpearMC because I want to get into the meat of it. This is an example of road mapping that we are doing a lot of with our clients lately. Gary, if you wouldn't mind introducing Hackettstown Meridian Health.
Sure. Hackettstown Meridian Health, we're the leading nonprofit healthcare center organization actually in New Jersey. We have 13 hospitals, 2 academic medical centers, 2 children's hospitals, and 9 community hospitals. We also have our own school of medicine located in Nutley, New Jersey. Next slide, Randy. Just to give you a little kind of showing of where we are in New Jersey, we're actually in the northeast corner as well as down the eastern seaboard of New Jersey, almost 3/4 of the way down the coast of our 13 hospitals. Next slide, Randy. Our PeopleSoft footprint is we're on PeopleSoft Financials 9.2, running PUM 32, and we're upgrading to 8.5.8 in May of 2020. I've listed out our modules we're running on financials, and we're also running PeopleSoft HCM PUM 33. We just upgraded to 8.5.8 this past weekend, and our current modules including HR, payroll for North America, benefits, base benefits, and quite a few others. And then we just installed Campus Solution this in 2020. We're running 9.2 on PUM 18, and we're upgrading to PeopleTools 8.5.8 this weekend. And we're running academic advising, admissions, campus community, campus self-service, financial aid, student financials, and student record. Next slide, Randy. Just to give you a quick background on the expenses, we went live on March 15, 2020. We have PeopleSoft travel authorization forms, which reduced the paper forms that we had prior to installing expenses. The travel authorization forms are sent securely via email to the travel agency after they're approved. And the travel authorization forms provide our AP, as well as if we need to audit expenses, some advanced audit capabilities, because the travel forms in PeopleSoft as well as the expense. We use the My Wallet for corporate credit cards, and we're reimbursed by both payroll and accounts payable. Payroll for team members, accounts payable for non-team members. Our expenses are reimbursed bi-weekly. We use the attach functionality for receipts, and we have analytical tiles for expenses and travel authorizations to give you, to give the user some background of if the form's approved or if it's in progress. And then we've integrated in with Google Maps for mileage reimbursement. Since we went live, we averaged in 2020 about just over 1,100 expenses reports per month in the 9 months that we were live. And then in 2021, we're on pace for 1,134 is our average per month. So there's a great adoption, as you can see just from the numbers of travel expenses that are coming in on an average per month. Next slide, Renee.
You want me to take this one, Gary?
Sure, please.
Yeah. So thanks, Gary. You might have noticed in the previous slide that we went live right at the beginning of the pandemic. And so the numbers that we saw in the numbers of expense reports were not as large as they had been in years previous. We expect that and we can already see the average monthly number of expense reports creeping up. We will continue to see that increase as we get back to normal here. What was consideration at Hackettstown Meridian Health and implementation there was the ease of use with mobile, okay, and with the fluid functionality available in PeopleSoft Expenses. We were able to deploy that application. We wouldn't have been able to do it had Fluid not existed, and we would have needed to use some other solution because at Hackettstown Meridian Health, the phone access is critical, and so the concern, and all organizations share this concern in authenticating users when outside of your firewall on any device. It might be your home PC, your work PC that you travel with, or your phone. We were able to secure that through a combination of Apsian, formerly Gray Heller, and Duo for multi-factor authentication. And with that enabled, then we were able to allow users to access PeopleSoft, certain pieces of PeopleSoft. So with Apsian, we're restricting what parts of PeopleSoft are available when you're external and on a phone. And PeopleSoft Mobile Expenses is one of those. We're able to then be online. And when you're online, you can create an expense report, attach your receipts using the phone, submit expense reports, and approve expense reports. And it's that mobile approval as well that is a great feature. A lot of approvals still are happening at your desktop, but they are with the Fluid functionality. Let's see. I might have Gary, if you might go on mute. I might be getting a little bit of an echo here. I'm not sure if that's the issue or not, but I'll forge ahead. The analytic tiles that Gary referred to, there's lots of them, and what we're doing is we're evaluating what's going on out in the expenses world. Who are your users? What's the average time for approval? Where is it sitting in the queue for approval? And the analytics that Gary is able to consume is the user adoption rate of the application. That translates, by the way, each and every expense report that's done, there's $1 savings compared to the former tool. So the savings continue and will continue for as long as users are using this application. We'll see a link that what was done to help with users to understand how to use the system. There's a navigation collection that was created with links to videos that were built, little snippets that are basically guided learnings for your users. We used Adobe Captivate in this deployment, and it shows the users step by step with call outs and clicks exactly how to do the transaction that they're looking to do. And so those live in the homepage. The expenses homepage is a tile to that navigation collection. The Twilio text feature, we considered it, and we used it initially in the early on testing, and it was determined that because we were able to get connected through the Appian and Duo combination, that we'd be online most often with our phones, we didn't need the Twilio text feature. So this is the feature that if you're offline, you can take a copy of your receipt, text it, and you associate your phone number with your user ID. And when you log on later, the receipt is sitting in your wallet waiting to be applied. That was not considered to be needed. And so we came to consensus that we would just use the attachment feature with your phone, taking a picture of the receipt. And all of a sudden, your receipt is already associated with that expense line. So that's the one piece that was in the title slide that we took out of scope and went with just the delivered attachment feature. There was a customization that we did. At first, we looked at the Oracle Maps functionality that was out there, and we reviewed the functionality and just determined that as it was delivered, it didn't meet our requirements. And so we had to create a customization to integrate Google Maps. So you just, it's as simple as entering your starting point and your ending point. Google Maps determines what that distance is, and the distance is entered for you and on the number of miles traveled for that particular trip. Kawaljit, are you on the live mic?
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Sure can, Kawaljit. Do you want to add to? Okay. You were involved in that Google Maps integration.
Yes.
Did I get it right? Did I explain it correctly?
Yes.
Perfect.
So for that, I'll share my screen.
Yeah, we'll get to that. You know what, Kawaljit? I'll get to that in about, I don't know, 10 slides or so. Okay. What was the total effort in terms of time to get the Google Maps feature developed and integrated and rolled out?
So basically, Randy, the Google Maps is an API function. It's a call to Google. So once you call the Google, as you can see in the Google directions anywhere on the browser. So basically, we are calling that API, right? Mm-hmm. So for the API, what does it need? It just needs a starting address and the ending address, correct, to find the directions. So basically, we give a call to that. We send the start address and the ending address. It calculates the mileage and it brings back to PeopleSoft. So what that does is it is providing accuracy of charging the mileage. Earlier, we didn't have this feature. The receipt is cumbersome, people putting, let's say, 30 miles, 30.6 miles. But this eliminates the even receipt concept, which is kind of tough. And this is much more accurate for the person who is basically reporting the expense, as well as the person who is approving the expense, because it's an accurate calculation. So that is why we put in this feature. So Thanks. Now, as far as the time is concerned, I think it's a kind of weak effort to just test the API. And it's a very nominal charge by Google.
Right. So I think that's important to let folks know that there is a charge organization-wide to have that API integration, not substantially large, but don't want anyone to be surprised by any of even the small hidden fees that are out there. And by the way, this is one of the reasons, because of the nominal charge, that Oracle was using their own Oracle Maps solution. But again, we tried that one. It was not quite ready to meet our requirements. Google integration was pretty spectacular, and I'll let Kawaljit demonstrate that here in a bit. But I do want to touch on the security features that were deployed. Mobile access is enabled through the two components: the Duo, two-factor authentication, or multi-factor authentication. So that requires your your credentials to be pre-established and associated with who you are. And then there's a push, a call, or a passcode option. With the push, then you simply say, yep, it's me, or no, that wasn't me trying to log on. Don't let that happen. And this is enabled. So Duo, there is a business relationship with Duo. And I keep wanting to say Greyheller Apsian was applied as well. These are some screenshots of the Apsian setup. It's more technical than I am able to describe, but if you've attended any of the Apsian presentations, you understand that their security layer is PeopleSoft. It is people code that is developed. You put it on top of your PeopleSoft application, and that's when you can enable essentially a different look and feel of the application if it detects you are logging on outside the firewall versus inside the firewall. And so here's a couple of screenshots that here's our integration on their firewall action to integrate with the Duo two-factor authentication tool set. So that combination, yeah, go ahead.
Just jump in. One reason we used Apsian was, say Qualgit was in his role also a PeopleSoft security administrator. When he logs in internally, he'll get the rights to use PeopleSoft security. But if he logs in externally, Apsian will not enable the PeopleSoft security. So if Qualgit's access was compromised from the outside, his ID would not be able to assign security roles from external access. He needed to be internal to assign those roles. So that was one reason we considered Apsian was to secure the environment both internally and externally.
Yeah. Yep. Hey, Gary, another cool feature that was enabled with Apsian was if you are logging on externally, you can't print at a local HMH printer. And that makes sense, right? Because you aren't physically in the firewall to go and fetch that output. And so printing is disabled appropriately, especially in a healthcare organization where you might be printing sensitive information. And so lots of added security benefits by deploying the combination really of Apsian and Duo. So we solved that, and that gave us the ability to use Fluid. So Fluid is now the user interface at Hackettstown for all things, including access for expenses on your mobile device. And then I had mentioned that the learnings that we created are recorded guided learnings, and those are simply stored out on a navigation collection on the expenses homepage, and the users are able to just go out and pick one of the lessons. Each lesson is no more than a couple of minutes, and learn or relearn. Sometimes you've got users who do maybe 1 or 2 expense reports a year, and they don't remember how to create an expense report or how to create a travel authorization. So these are memorialized for us in the guided learning recordings out on the homepage. We've got, this is Qualgit, where I'm going to have you do the Google Maps customization. What you can see here is you've got you've got a start and an end point. You simply enter it in. You hit calculate, and it calculates based on that API that Qualgit was describing. Qualgit, do you want to, let me see, you want to give it a shot on sharing? The trick is that you share your entire screen.
So it's saying share screen. I'm going to click that.
Yep, share that screen.
Share option, share screen. Entire screen, right? Share.
Yep, share the entire screen.
Do you see me? And do you see PeopleSoft?
You got to tab onto your PeopleSoft. Yep, sure do. We got it.
Okay, so let me start here. Actually, I had a career change. I didn't. Randy gave background, and it's wonderful to work for hospital, as Gary said. So 13 hospitals. I'm coming from PeopleSoft, a former employee. I worked there 7, 8 years, back in version 4 to 7.5. I was original developer there. Um, but as Gary said, we have 13 hospitals. So we had receipts for expenses, and what it's, as I said earlier, it's not really accurate, but GPS was a really good function because they travel a lot from hospitals to hospital. So I think on the slide, Randy was showing you, this is our main portal, and you can go to different applications from here as a user friendly. So basically we have this tile, it shoots to different places here. Randy was showing you the learning. This is a place where you can, play, and it demos you how to put in expenses. Like you can see, I'm going to just give you a little bit slip here so you can really learn how to put in expenses. So if somebody wants to really know this. So that was here. So I go back to expenses again. Can you see my screen?
We can we still see learning. I don't know if you got hung up there, Kawaljit.
Okay, so I can just log off. Wow. Okay. You can still see my screen, right?
Yep, we can.
How about this? Do you see the links?
Yep, we see
Yes.
in Google.
Yeah. So I'm now logging on to the database. We have several databases. So I'm logging on to financials database, and I'm going to go in expenses, and I'm going to create an expense, and I'm going to create an expense. This is what he was talking about, the various metrics and analytics we have to look at how many expenses we have per department or business unit.
Quality, can we just go right to the mileage calculation,
Yes,
please?
I'm going here. So I'm going to go here, add expense. So I'm going to do, we have office to office expense. We have several. I'm going to say JFK office, JFK hospital to Hackensack hospital. And starting point is, so we have a type head feature. So I can basically don't have to put in the whole. I know there is a 65 James Street. We have one hospital, and I have one at 30 Prospect Street, Hackensack. I can choose that, and this button is going to call an API, and it calculated the distance between the two locations of our hospital, and it gives you 33 miles, and it multiplies, and basically I do not have to submit a receipt for this, and this will create an expense sheet for $18.58.
So the magic there, Kawaljit, is when you hit the button, that's the API, and that called to Google.
Yes.
And there you have it.
But yeah, this button gives a call to Google.
Excellent.
So then this is how it works. So I can add another one. So I went from one office to another. I can say, okay, this is my return, and similar, I can put in different address. And as we have a type ahead. and we can put in, this is my return, right? 30 Prospect Avenue. I can put in, I'm now going back to the same place where I started. And basically I calculate, it calculates the mileage and it multiplies by 56 and it gives the number. So we have all these addresses where what people are using, and we can pre-populate that thing.
So I have one question out in the question box, and that is where, so you're doing type ahead. Where did it pull that from, the list?
So basically we have a type ahead feature stored into the table. So when somebody comes in here and he puts, we go into that table and drop down that approximate match.
And Kawaljit, on this one, we are, if you hit the magnifying glass, if it's a search, do you see all of the office locations?
So we can use these addresses which are all used within the company, or we can limit that to employee.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
We have both the features available.
Was that a customization?
Yeah. Yes.
Perfect. And so that was the mileage type that you were doing was office to office. What if I'm not going to an office? What if I am?
Okay, so now we have other kinds of 2 more miles. So what it does is we have mileage and let's say all types. And let's say I just say want to do mileage and search. We have home care and we have office to office and we have other miles. So a person could be doing other miles which is not office. And then what we introduce here is, since it's an other miles, that means the person really did not come to office. He is going from home to some hospital, and if his office location is, let's say, XYZ hospital, we want him to basically tell us the commuting miles. So I can start, let's say,
right,
18. I never did expenses for myself. So I'll choose another address, any address. Okay, so calculate miles. Okay, so now since I am going from my home to this hospital, but I was supposed to, let's say my office is, let's say Wall, I am supposed to say, 15 miles I am usually commute. So it basically deduct that from the calculated miles, because I was supposed to go to my office and that is not billable, right? So I said 15 miles is my daily commute, but since I am going from home to this, I deduct 15 miles and then that becomes accurate charge.
All right.
Did anybody? I can't see the window. Is there any question on that?
No. I think that answered the question.
Okay.
So the Google Maps API it uses that's not the dropdown. The dropdown is stored on your in your custom table, right. And then once it's all typed in, that's when the API goes to Oracle or to Google.
Yeah. Yes. So Randy, you asked me another question. We have the third miles, which is basically, some people are going like 30 places in one place. So nursing home to nursing home, 2 miles, 33 miles. We introduced called nursing home miles. Basically what that does is it basically gives you another kind of mileage, which is not Google. So we have the other option open, which is called home care rounding. And if you can see, we basically took the GPS out from here. So this is total expense miles could be 300 miles. And we now want people to attach the Excel sheet. See this one? It is mandatory now because they are putting 300 miles and they're going to give 3 miles, 100 times and attach an Excel sheet here. and that will give you. So this is another flavor.
And Kowalski, that attachment then would be essentially their mileage log.
Yes.
That adds
yes.
up. Yeah.
Yes. So it's three. So it covers three kinds of miles: office to office, which is there is no daily miles to be deducted, and then home to office. But then in that event, you would have gone to office, and that saved your time and money. We basically deduct that, and then home care miles, and which requires a receipt system. Because if a person could be doing 1 week mileage going from 3 miles.
Mm-hmm. And that receipt is usually an Excel spreadsheet log or
Yes.
some such, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Great.
So the other 2 miles, which was GPS based, it is really a convenient way for the approver as well as the person who is traveling. It's because it's accurate.
Excellent. I don't. There is nothing left in our presentation. I think we covered the bases on Fluid, on Google integration, on the mobile access and security. Again, we didn't use Twilio. We didn't see the need to text receipts to sit in your wallet, since we were able to log on. And so that is the implementation. We did use, and Gary mentioned it, the travel authorization feature, right? Which essentially is it's an encumbrance, like a purchase order, that gives you the authorization to travel. And one of the neat features that we deployed was, maybe the users don't think it's neat, but if you are traveling and you have certain expense types, such as a hotel stay or airfare, or I think maybe car rental, those require a travel authorization, a pre-travel approval. And if you submit an expense that does not attach a travel authorization for airfare or hotel, then you are flagged for a extra layer of approval going up through the executive director levels of your organization, essentially indicating that you were non-compliant with a company policy, which is to get a travel authorization first. And so while we allow that expense report to be submitted, we do flag it as non-compliant with policy. Gary, can you think of any other cool internal control features for Qualgent?
Yeah, I have 2 more things. We are basically also getting MX files. So in that case, it is pre-populated for many executives, and all they have to do is just check mark saying, shoot it to expenses. All my wallet puts it into expenses, and basically they submit it in 1 click.
Love that. Yep.
Yeah. And then what that does also is we have alerts for the credit card holders to basically file expenses. Also, I think Randy, you probably didn't mention, we pay expenses via payroll as well as vouchers. So those are, the employees get paid by payroll, and non-employees are paid by the accounts payable vouchers.
Right, and that was a fairly significant customization we had to put in. The issue, and it came up yesterday when Gary and I were on the panel for the expenses discussion. The issue is that you decided installation options, whether you're going to do payroll or AP, and many organizations need to do both. And so we had to customize that. And we're hoping that Oracle will deliver the option, at least at the business unit level, if not down to the expense user level, because not everyone who uses expenses is an employee. Certainly that's the case at Hackettstown Health. Hey, Kowalski, I got a question. After the expense report is submitted, who are the users that approve it? What is the approval cycle?
So we have an org hierarchy in the AWE process. So we introduce AWE, and we know who is the HR manager. We have several rules. For example, just if it is $100, the supervisor can approve it. If it is, let's say, $500, is two-way approval. If it is 5,000, so we use HR hierarchy for reporting purposes, and it routes accordingly.
Yeah, and it follows our corporate travel policy. So there's limits on when it needs to go from a supervisor to a manager or to a vice president. So the workflow follows our corporate policy, and then it will follow the inputs that we brought in from the HCM system as to who your supervisor is, who's your manager, who your vice president. So it follows that hierarchy there. And I think the other question there, Randy, was are 100% of the expense report audited? We've built in some functionality for auditing. So accounts payable, which was manually doing checks on expense reports, can be done in an automated fashion. So, for example, if a team member puts in for no airfare, and then they submit an airfare expense, that will flag in accounts payable as they get the expense report that airfare was submitted, but it wasn't approved on the travel form. So it's helps save time for our accounts payable staff that manually had to validate some of these checks. And then for auditing, those capabilities are there if they want to run audit reports. So I don't know the frequency that audit would want to, our internal audit audits that, but it is available for them to audit. But our goal here was to provide a seamless solution for our accounts payable department to, get away from the manual processes and help automate some of the processes since we are in one system, PeopleSoft, using expense reporting, travel forms, and our accounts payable reimbursement. And then before they send it to payroll, it's validated that it's gone through the checks that it needs to.
Yep. Gary, there's one more feature that I forgot that we deployed, and this is the state of New Jersey has determined that if you are reimbursed for an expense that is older than 60 days old, in other words, you submitted an expense quite late, that technically that is considered taxable income for you. And I think that what we've done is we look at the date of the expense, and if it exceeds 60 days, we're flipping that to being a taxable expense reimbursement. Did I get that right, Gary?
Yes.
Yes, it goes over to payroll as a taxable or not taxable expense on your payroll on your paycheck.
And that's one of the key drivers and reasons why we opted to go through payroll for reimbursement, because there are a number of taxable reimbursements that happen, not just those that are over 60 days, but other types as well. And so easier to apply the tax component through payroll. But again, there are non-employees that are reimbursed through expenses. And so the customization was to identify whether you are or not an employee. And if you are not, then your reimbursement goes through accounts payable. All right, waiting for other questions. Not seeing any more roll in. This is your chance, folks. Gary, how has the user response been on the expenses module?
I use it on my phone. So I guess our goal was to roll expenses out so that we were not dependent on any type of device. So the nice with Fluid, it's actually nice to no matter what device, it's the same look and feel that the team member is seeing or non-team member. But the adoption went very well. I mean, think of my goal to my team is, when you sign up for some of the web pages or, when you do shopping, you don't really use the help that much. You just jump on, create an account and start, using the site. And that was our goal with expenses, roll it out and make it user friendly. So we do have the instructions, but we want the users to easily adopt to the system. And as you can see, just by the expense reports, we've seen over 1,100 a month. The adoption's gone very well, I feel.
Yeah. Matthew asked another question about the taxable reimbursements. Those are handled through payroll. Those go to payroll as reimbursable expenses flagged to be grossed up in the employee's income at the end of the year. Hey, Gary, are you, as an approver, are you finding mobile approval to be functional, or are you still doing most of your approvals when you're on your computer?
You're hitting something that I discussed with my team quite a bit, is that, I'm on the road, or I may be, not at my desk as frequently as I used to be. And my vision was to have approvals for leadership, or for leaders in the organization, not be tied to a PC. So it's very easy to do it on your phone. Log in and approve that. You get the workflow email that comes in internally and externally. You can click on that link. If you're external, you get a challenge with Duo, and you'll go right into the expense report and you can approve that. Or if you hit the tile in PeopleSoft with the approvals, you can just click on the approval and go right from there and sort it on expense approvals or voucher approvals or requisition approvals. And it's to me, it's seamless. It's as easy as sitting at my desk. And that was the goal that I have for my team, is that, we can't make a team member go to a PC to approve everything. We got to be mobile and let our team approve it or submit reports mobile.
I'm glad, Gary, that you mentioned the other approval types, right? So the benefit of cracking the code on getting people access to PeopleSoft on their phone doesn't limit you to approve just expense reports. All of your workflow approvals in Fluid show up, right? So Gary mentioned requisitions, e-procurement requisitions, and voucher approvals are also capable and show up in the Fluid approval tile, and so they're all there, not just expenses. So that was that's a great benefit across the board for the organization, I think.
I think too, Randy, it's, if you're just using FSCM, at least we were maintaining department tables, approval tables in another system. So we were, maintaining that data in multiple systems. So I guess for us, one of the benefits was just being in expenses, that you got the approved department tables from finance, and then having HCM, we were able to leverage, supervisors, directors, managers, and vice, leadership that's automated, and it interacts directly with FSCM from HCM. So it's real time being kept up with the approvals by, having that integration with HCM, as well as just having departments in FSCM. So if you just have FSCM, at least you're going to leverage, your department table, and you can only charge the departments that are active by finance. So that's also real time. And then, like I said, if you have HCM, you can leverage in the approval with directors and managers and supervisors.
Yep. Hey, Gary and Kowalczyk, as expense users, do you find when you're using your phone and attaching receipts, is that fairly seamless?
For me, it's using, soft attachments, and it's, I find it very difficult. He probably,
Sorry, Gary, I talked over you.
Okay, cool. Go ahead, Kowalczyk.
Oh, I didn't want. I thought you're still continuing. Yeah, no, they are not issues, and it's very, very friendly, Randy.
I had a question from another customer who was considering expenses, and their question was the amount of block storage that is consumed by the images of the expenses receipts. Have you noticed any kind of jump in storage that you've had to address because of expense receipts?
Yeah, as I think I gave the statement in the beginning of the thing, when we didn't have the GPS, we had the images stored because we have 13, Gary mentioned, we have 13 hospitals. People really travel a lot. So that has really reduced the attachment.
But those that are the receipts for meals, for other things,
Yeah.
are they? Does it substantially increase the amount of storage space that you need on your servers?
Actually, we have not come up with any kind of complaint. It's a blob size stored on the database, and we never found any issue with that.
Okay.
So far, nobody has complained anything. So,
excellent.
And mostly Randy, the travel authorization goes through the what do you call? We have a travel agent who books everything. They also have all the receipts.
Yep. And you've got
basically
I forgot about
the authorization.
I forgot to call that out as a key feature. Gary mentioned it. The Euroloid is the travel agent that you use, and the beauty is those travel authorizations go straight to Euroloid. There's no more faxing, no more fumbling, no more lost data. It's straight over, and of course that's your approval to travel, right? That is your purchase order, if you will, to apply your expense report against.
Yeah, I think that the key thing too, Randy, just for a team member to be able to know where the travel form is as well. So once you submit it, you can actually see where it is in the process. There's no more making phone calls to say, or even sending emails saying, did Gary approve my Quality travel form, or did it get faxed to the travel agent? So it doesn't require me to go to the office to get the travel authorization form to sign. I can actually do that when I see it come in, or I can do it in the evening or in the morning, and it's just so much quicker than having to go to your office to get, or to your desk to get that travel form to approve it.
Hey, Kowalczyk, question for you. Where are the attachments physically stored? Are on the database? Do you have a different file storage location, application server, database server?
No, in the database, it has to be linked to the database.
It does.
Image,
okay.
column.
It's similar to.
It's in the database.
Yes, it's similar to requisitioning when you attach a statement of work to a requisition in PeopleSoft. We're using the PeopleSoft attachment functionality, so it's stored in the database.
Okay.
Yeah.
Database.
I just wanted to mention that the gentleman who asked the question about the image and storage, we have much bigger GHX system, which is invoicing. What we do a lot of buying and all. We have never encountered any space issue as such. Fantastic. I mean, this is very, very small, tiny comparing to GHX system, because we get tons of invoicing. Think about hospital buying all kind of equipment, surgical, medicine, and what equipments. We never encountered any issue on the database level.
Excellent questions. We have only about 4 minutes left. Do you have any parting thoughts, Kowalczyk or Gary, that you want to leave as we close out?
I do not. I think this was a very, well, let you tell the time frame, but I know it was a very quick, after we got the requirements, a very quick implementation. The team did a great job of standing this up in March of 2020, and it's been adopted extremely well. And continues to go well, and we're constantly looking for ways to improve the process, getting feedback, and how can we improve our expense process.
Yeah. Hey, Kowalczyk, how many executives have the travel card? You'd mentioned the integration with Amex,
right? 32. 32.
How many? Okay. Yeah.
32.
So 32, and are they enjoying that feed with the ease of use?
Yes, because the good part is they don't have to do nothing, and also I have a notification automated that anytime the MX comes inside our system, and there is a email reminder to them that your expense have been imported. Please go and submit it, and basically it's a one-click thing. It just goes into expense and it goes to approval, and mind you, those people have self-approval also. We have, as earlier somebody asked on the workflow, on a level, some level we have like self-approved, and they just get reimbursed. The MX card is reimbursed right away.
Yeah. Well, there is 3 minutes left, but I'm not seeing any new questions roll in. We might go ahead and wrap up early. And I would say on behalf of Gary and Kowalczyk, I appreciate the time. I'm sure that there's a number of West Coast folks that'll be watching this in its recording status instead of live. But anyone who was able to get on at the beginning of the day and get on, I hope you enjoyed the session. Don't forget that there will be a survey. Make sure to fill it out and give us your feedback and let us know what you want to hear more about, and we'll certainly work to accommodate.
Great.
Kowalczyk, thank you. I know it was last minute pulling you in. You did a fantastic job. It was great to see a live demo. Far better than screenshots, that's for sure. And Gary, thanks to you.
Thank you to all.
No, thank you, Randy. Thank you, Kowalczyk. Great job.
All righty. Goodbye. Have a great rest of the day, and we'll probably see you on a session or two in the future. Bye now.
Thank you.